Time for action. Canada's path in an uncertain world. Canada is at a critical crossroads in its history. Donald Trump's decision to impose a 25% tariff on Canadian goods serves as a wake-up call, signaling the need for Canada to rethink its long-standing economic and military dependence on the United States. This unprecedented economic coercion threatens the stability of a relationship that has been reliable for nearly a century. In the face of an unpredictable U.S. political landscape and shifting power dynamics, Canada must adopt a multipolar strategy to safeguard its sovereignty, economy, and security. The future of Canada depends on its ability to act decisively. The aggressive tariffs revealed a harsh truth. Canada is deeply reliant on U.S. trade and defense, leaving the country vulnerable to political decisions across the border. This realization should not only concern policymakers but every Canadian citizen. Decisions made in distant capitals, whether in Washington or Ottawa, eventually affect households, industries, and communities nationwide. What happens if another U.S. president, like Trump or someone with similar policies, opts to impose even stricter measures? Could Canada sustain its economic stability or defend its territorial sovereignty? These are pressing questions Canadians must ask as debates surrounding trade and alliances heat up. Canada sends nearly 75% of its exports to the United States. That dependence means any policy shift, such as the Trump tariffs, could lead to economic instability. If similar measures are enacted in the future, entire industries like automotive production or agriculture could face serious challenges. Trump's protectionist stance isn't temporary. It reflects a long-term trend that could be adopted by future administrations. For Canadian citizens, this means job security and national economic health hang in the balance, driven largely by decisions happening outside the country. The once stable U.S.-Canada relationship has demonstrated cracks. Today, Trump uses tariffs. Tomorrow, another leader could impose energy export restrictions or introduce unpredictable trade barriers. Americans elect leaders whose policies may disregard the stability or mutual benefit of Canada-U.S. ties. Meanwhile, Congress and the U.S. legal system allow unilateral presidential actions in trade. For Canadians, this precarious environment underscores the need for greater independence. Long-term economic planning must account for the unpredictability of the U.S. political landscape. Canada's defense relies heavily on U.S.-led alliances such as NORAD and NATO. However, Trump has openly questioned NATO's purpose and hinted at reducing American involvement. If the U.S. withdraws or weakens its military commitments, Canada could face heightened security risks. Right now, Canada's military capabilities are ill-equipped for complete autonomy. Citizens should be concerned about whether Canada is prepared to safeguard its own borders, defend its interests in the Arctic, and manage international conflicts without U.S. support. To secure a prosperous and independent future, Canada must adopt a multipolar approach. Strengthening ties with Europe, Asia, and Latin America will help reduce its overdependence on the U.S. Canada should implement strategic trade diversification policies. Increase exports to fast-growing economies like China, India, and ASEAN nations. Capitalize on the Comprehensive Economic and Trade Agreement, CETA, with the European Union. Support domestic industries such as technology and energy to mitigate trade imbalances. These measures will create robust economic alternatives that protect Canadians from external shocks caused by U.S. policy changes. Canada needs to invest in modernizing its military while building diverse partnerships to ensure national security. Forge closer defense ties with European and Indo-Pacific nations like Japan and Australia. Modernize and expand military forces, particularly the Royal Canadian Navy and Air Force, ensuring readiness for both domestic and international challenges. Pursue greater autonomy in defense spending, signaling Canada's commitment to independent security operations. Encouraging domestic industrial production and building alternative North American trade routes, possibly through partnerships with Mexico, can reduce Canada's economic vulnerability. By fostering local industries, Canadians benefit through job creation and a more resilient economy. The question for Canadian citizens is not whether these steps are possible, but whether they are urgent. Any candidate or political party seeking to lead Canada must address the issue of dependence on the U.S. directly. As election platforms emerge, voters should prioritize policies promoting diversification in trade, heightened defense investments, and economic self-sufficiency. The choices made by Canada's leadership will shape the country's role in the global arena. Should Canada remain tethered to U.S. interests, or should it assert itself as an independent player navigating a multipolar world? This is the debate that will define Canada's future. Donald Trump's tariffs are more than just an economic inconvenience. They are a call to action for every Canadian. Canada cannot afford to react passively to U.S. policies. Economic diversification, defense autonomy, and international collaboration are not just sound policies, they are essential for ensuring Canada's sovereignty and prosperity. For Canadian citizens, this means demanding leadership that boldly addresses these challenges and initiates meaningful reforms. The risks of inaction are too high, as dependence leaves Canada exposed to future bullying by powerful leaders in Washington. The time is now for Canada to take control of its destiny and secure a future built on resilience, independence, and global partnerships.